I probably titled this video a bit lighter than what I am going to actually talk about when it comes to the context of what is going on with this hashtag pick a side YouTube, but definitely I am going to go a little bit hard on this video while I'm talking, as you can hear now. So when it comes down to pick a side YouTube, I'll be completely honest with you. While I think the movement is a great idea, and why I think, yes, let's get rid of the headsets in the YouTube sphere of things when it comes to the online world, as well as just let's just agree to get rid of a lot of pads that exist entirely, honestly. But the thing is, YouTube is not going to care about this, and I'm saying that, and I don't mean to undermine the whole movement of what pick a side is, because I definitely do agree that, you know, YouTube should pick a side and, you know, stand against pet and try to stand against pets and stop them from doing any more horrible things that they are doing. In fact, as you guys know, we talk about lollies on this channel, and when we do that, we also go ahead and try to put in the description of those videos charities, so you can be able to help out real kids, just so, you know, we can also get that going, because the whole entire point of that lolly stuff that we talk about is really just to get the real, to get basically to differentiate what is real and what is not, and what you should be focusing on and instead of what you are focusing on. And that's the entire point of the lolly movement, and that's the entire point of me covering lolly, or at least a big reason for it. But when it comes to YouTube and the way they're going to try to do anything with the situation, is that they're going to try to do nothing with the situation, and that's just because they are a private company and they're just not going to be really concerned about anything like that. And if you really think YouTube is not going to do, if you really think YouTube is going to try to do something, good luck with that thinking, because they will not. Keep in mind, this is the same company that went out their way to throw their content creators under the bus when COPPA came through, and pretty much let them suffer the consequences instead of the company did, even though they did have to pay a hefty fine. But still, they mainly let that over. But still, a fine can be paid over. But still, when it comes from a big company like Google, you realize that that fine can easily be paid off, right? And that's not really going to affect them too badly in the long term run. But when it comes to content creators, it's definitely going to affect us even harder than it usually should. Then you also got to remember that Apocalypse came in and ruined a bunch of things, but YouTube really didn't do much with it, because when that situation came through either. In fact, it was that moment in time that really just made a lot of things worse, and really didn't, you know, make things any more easier for other content creators. Then you also had the mass amounts of doxing that YouTube never really deals with, and you also had the copyright stuff that people have been going through with this for ages, but still YouTube does absolutely nothing when it comes to that, as you saw with Totally Not Mark and his situation with Toei Animation. And YouTube is still not even gave this man a single piece of help that could, you know, benefit. And that's really the thing. YouTube has so many different problems, so many different things that we have complained about for years, honestly. And if you really think they're gonna really care about some kids getting attacked by adults, then unfortunately you are really not seeing the big part of YouTube that you should be seeing. Obviously, it would be great if they would be able to help out, you know, against heads, and, you know, try to do their best to get some kids to safety. That would be amazing. But this is that same company that don't really care about people. So if you're really thinking that this movement is going to work, it probably won't. And again, and really, if you really want this movement to work, you're gonna have to get individual YouTubers themselves to go ahead and do something even better than what the company that they are making content on. And that's pretty much how it is. You really have to rely on other YouTubers before you rely on the platform itself, because the platform itself is not going to really do anything for you. And that's kind of how it is, unfortunately. There's other YouTubers that even have whole companies to solve YouTube problems instead of what problems that should be solved by YouTube by themselves. But no, we have to rely on other YouTubers to help each other out, to make sure they get out of their certain situations on what they have. And that's really unfortunate, because YouTubers shouldn't have to deal with that, but they do it anyway because they know YouTube is not going to do a damn thing about it. Honestly, YouTube is no different from a bunch of aunties, so this is an auntie with a lot of money that can spend and to kind of throw around any way they want to, and incorporate different systems into their own company and how people should be able to manage it, and to be able to manage things. But then when you realize what they throw down with this, but then you realize with the stuff they try to keep implementing and throwing down into the content creators. So at the content creators, you realize that none of it is really helping, except it's just making it more difficult to make content, and it's more difficult to be monetized and do all that stuff that YouTubers desperately need when it comes to making content. So really, again, as I said before, I think the movement is a right call. I think it's a valiant effort, but if you really think YouTube's going to try to do something, I don't really think they will. And even if they did do something, that's not going to give me a, that's not going to be, that should be, anything YouTube do something about the whole pet situation, they should have been done something about it. Much less they should have gone out their way to make that priority really a big priority already. And even and again, if they were to do something to actually get this going with the movement, and they did pick a side, then even if they did do something good, that's still not going to give me any praise, because there's still so many problems with the YouTube system that it just ain't right. Like the robotic stupid algorithm that ain't working right, and how many problems have you gotten out of that, and the manual reviews and every other thing that YouTube has a problem for over the years, that people has been literally screeching at the platform, but the platform doesn't care. So even if they were to do something, I'm not going to just give them a standing ovation. No, you still have plenty of work to do. And before anybody might be like, well, wouldn't it be a good idea to see someone else take over YouTube, be the new CEO? Well, I would suggest that, but at the same time, it wouldn't be a good idea, mainly because, the next person that might come in, whoever that person might be, might end up making the whole entire system worse. In fact, you already seen what happened on Twitter with the new CEO that running it now. They always do a bunch of warnings at you. Now they're throwing a whole bunch of DMCAs at you, even worse. And a lot of things are just not fun. It makes Twitter just an impossible place to be on. That's why, in my personal suggestion, we would need a YouTuber to be the CEO of YouTube itself, because they know the problems of the system, they know what's going on, and they could probably better it way better than what we currently have with the current staff that works there. I'm just being honest. And while we may not get everything that we want when it comes to the system, at least it might be just a bit better, especially if the CEO doesn't stand up and do their job and what they're supposed to do when it comes to helping content creators. I get that you want to be transparent, but sometimes you really need to stand up and say something, because everybody seems like they're on crack. It just really feels like that. So, and all this come down, so when it comes to all this, do I think YouTube's gonna do anything when it comes to this situation? Absolutely not. And if they do something, and if they do something, that would surprise me. Much less, that's still not enough for me to be able to be like, oh, okay, they did good. Then no, that's still not enough. So if you really want to help support real kids and get them be able to escape horrible situations, I also highly recommend that you go to donate to charities that is able to help with this situation. Also, I do have charities in the description, like I do with all the lowly videos that I make, and you can go to those charities in the description and donate too, because that's a win-win for us if some kid is getting to be safe. So that's really what all that matters when it comes down to it. So that's all I want to talk about for this one. I just wanted to put my 2 cents into this, really. And hopefully you do have a good day today. And until then, this is your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.